Hey everyone, today we're going to be learning the Ace Rise, which is a very simple card trick that involves a little bit of setup, but it's really easy and it's pretty cool, so let's get into it. Alright guys, so this is the performance of the Ace Rise. So what I have here guys is a regular deck of playing cards, and obviously before I start, I want to shuffle this deck up. So we'll just get it nice and shuffled, and just like that, and we'll even, I guess, give it maybe a few cuts, just like that. And what I'm going to do guys is I'm going to take the deck and I'm going to cut it into 4 equal piles, just like this. And the first pile, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 cards off the top, just like this, move them to the bottom, and then place a card on top of each other pile. And I'm going to do this with all the piles. So the second one, I take 1, 2, 3 cards off the top, move them to the bottom, and then place a card on top of each pile. I then take the third pile, take 1, 2, 3 cards off the top, move them to the bottom, and then place a card on top of each pile. I'm then going to take the last pile and take 1, 2, 3 cards off the top, move them to the bottom, and then place a card on top of each pile. Now guys, how amazing would it be if the 4 cards that I cut to are, you guessed it, none other than the 4 aces. And that, guys, is the Ace Rise. Right, guys, so this is the tutorial for the Ace Rise. Now, as mentioned before, this trick does involve a little bit of setup, and the only setup this does involve, guys, is taking the 4 aces out of your deck and simply placing them on top, just like that. And you're going to do this before you start the trick. Now, guys, you'll notice in the trick I did start off by giving the deck a few cuts. Now what I'm actually performing right here guys is actually what's known as a false cut. Now a false cut is a way of making it look like you're cutting the cards when really you're not disturbing the order at all. So therefore it keeps the 4 aces on the top of the deck. Now guys, you don't have to do that. You can simply just start off the trick, but if you do know like a false cut, then it might be a good idea to give it a false cut. And also guys, I just gave it a riffle shuffle. What I did here is I gave it a shuffle, making sure that I keep the top 4 cards on the pile there, and you can see that on the top there, and those cards are the 4 aces. So that way I could keep the 4 aces on the top of the deck, just like that. Now guys, what you're going to do here is you're going to start off by cutting the deck into 4 equal piles, just like so. Now guys, from here it is pretty much just self-working. You're going to go from left to right, and you're going to take the left-hand pile, and you're going to take 3 cards off the top, and you're going to move them to the bottom of the same pile. Then you're going to go ahead and place a card on top of each other pile. And once again guys, you're going from left to right, so you do this pile now. You take 1, 2, 3 cards off the top of the pile and move them to the bottom. And then you go ahead and place a card on top of each other pile. And once again guys, going from left to right, so you do this pile now. You take 1, 2, 3 cards off the top, move them to the bottom of the pile, and then place a card on top of each pile. Now notice guys, this pile on my very right actually has the 4 aces on top of it right there, because we set the aces up before the trick, and it also has 3 other cards on top from where we place them. Now guys, all we're doing here is simply taking 1, 2, 3 cards off the top, just like before, moving them to the bottom, and then placing a card on top of each pile. And you'll notice the cards I'm actually placing on top of each pile are actually the 4 aces. And you can do it just like that, and make sure the piles are nice and square, and then simply reveal that the 4 aces are indeed on top of each pile. And that guys is the Ace Rise, and it's a pretty cool trick. Have fun with it, and I'll see you all next time.